Ball. I'm a small business attorney here in the beautiful state of Utah, and we are just here providing you, the business owner, some quick tips on how to keep you out of court. So today, my topic is stop, talk, and listen. You're probably wondering what the heck I mean by that. I actually mean, I think that people in general hire attorneys too quickly, they are impulsive about it. They're in a conflict with someone and they feel that there's no more hope and they are ready to just jump the gun and bring in that attorney. I think that hiring an attorney is actually your very last resort. I want you to stop before you jump the gun and hire that attorney. I want you to put yourself in your own personal timeout. Yes, a timeout. I want you to reflect on what's going on. And so when I get calls from business owners who reach out to us because they are in conflict with someone and they're calling and they say, I need help fixing a problem with a customer, an employee, a business partner, just some other third party like a contractor that they're working with. And I want you to think, I want you to put yourself in this position. What would you do and how would you feel if one of these individuals, customer, client, employee, business partner, what if you received a letter in the mail from an attorney that they've hired or an actual phone call? Really put yourself in that place. How is that going to affect you? How would you feel? Well, based on clients I have worked with, some of the feelings that they run through, some of the emotions, it makes them nervous. They're scared. What's going to happen? They've hired an attorney. What can I do to protect myself? What does this mean? What does it mean for me? What does it mean for my business? How much is it going to cost me? They're scared and nervous about all of the unknowns. And then I've seen that they're mad. They are really mad. And they are ready for a fight. At that point, they hear that an attorney has been hired and they are like, no more Mr. Nice Guy. We're battling now. So what I'm trying to point out is once you bring on that attorney, it completely changes the dynamics of your relationship with that client, customer, with that employee, with that business partner, with that freelancer, independent contractor you're working with. Completely changes. And it's no more Mr. Nice Guy. It's actually ugly. So here are the 3 things that I counsel people on when they reach out to me because they are in a conflict and they really think that it's now at that point they need to bring in an attorney. But it may be, but I want you to really evaluate. And here's what I want you to do. The first thing, and this is not easy. The first thing, I want you to sit down and I want you to evaluate the problem, and how you're going to do that is you're going to actually type up a timeline. You're going to go all the way back from the beginning when you first started doing business with that individual, and you're going to just put a timeline. And I want you to gather up documents. If you have contracts in place with them, if you have emails that went back and forth with them, text messages, print those up. Have it all ready. So as you're typing up your timeline, you can reference, oh, well, on January 15th in 2016, we signed an agreement that said this. And then you keep moving on. You're not going to have documents for every little thing. But from your best memory, I want you to type up a timeline. Roughly around March 30th of 2017, we had a conversation, and this is what took place in that conversation. Just do the best you can. Get that timeline in place and written. Okay, that's the first thing. Then the second thing is, after you've got your documents, now I want you to summarize your side of the story. So now you've gone through the process of putting everything in a timeline. You kind of have it in your head, every single thing that happened that's led up to the situation it is today. Now I want you to summarize it. Type it up. Type up a summary. Believe me, this will help you to get stuff figured out. Okay, number 2. Now I want you to call that other person that you are in conflict with. Reach out to them and say, can we meet? Can we talk about what's going on? I want to work this out. I really do. And we've got some disagreements and misunderstandings. Can we meet and go through it and talk about it? More often than not, you're dealing with a reasonable person and they'll gladly meet with you. One key thing about that meeting, this is where you're going to talk and listen. You need to put emotions out. Take those emotions, check them at the door. You go to that meeting emotion free. Don't let those emotions, because you are going to have them, because your side of the story is not the same as theirs. But what you're trying to accomplish, you're trying to come up with a reasonable compromise that will make both of you happy. Again, this may not happen, but you're trying. Okay, so you get to the meeting. You're calm. Your emotions are set aside. You're telling yourself in your head, I'm being reasonable. And I want you to go through your summary. I want you to summarize your side of the story. So that's the talking part. Now I want you to stop yourself. You've got it, and you will need to mentally, intentionally stop yourself because you'll want to keep carrying on. Once you've summarized your side, stop yourself and let them talk. And just try. Just give it a go and try to make this work and try and understand where they're coming from. And I have found that sometimes clients will realize that, oh, I didn't realize, I forgot that we had talked about doing that. So sometimes you might find that you made a mistake and you can understand why they're so mad at you. Or sometimes the other party will realize that they made a mistake. Just by having this conversation, forcing yourselves to have this conversation reasonably and calmly, it will go a long way. Okay, third, you've had the conversation. Let's say you were able to come up with some resolutions that you both were happy with and you want to work on. Let's say you didn't. However the conversation went, the third thing, you follow that conversation up with an email. I've talked about the importance of following up conversations with emails. It's crucial. So you'll send that person, hey John, thanks so much for meeting with me today. This is what we talked about and this is what we decided. I really appreciate it. That email timestamps that you had this conversation, that you tried to get this conflict resolved, and it summarizes, what happened at the conversation. Okay, so now I want to tell you a story. I meet clients often who have been through lawsuits, and I can tell you that they have no problem. Maybe it's because I'm an attorney, but they have no problem telling me about it. But I know that it's not something that they talk about with everybody. For one, it's embarrassing. And it brings up all these emotions that they went through during the time that they were in that lawsuit. And it's a lot of heartache, it's stress, and it all comes back when they talk about it. But going through a legal action like that is embarrassing. It's embarrassing on the individual, it's embarrassing on the business. So it's not something they talk about. But here's a story I want you to think about and really put yourself in this position as a business owner. I have a client, there were 3 business partners, and they eventually broke up. I don't know the reasons why, but they broke up and they sued each other. And they're in litigation, maybe 2 to 3 years down that road, because litigation can take some time. And they're going through depositions. So keep in mind, when you're being deposed, if you've got 3 parties who are all suing each other, during a deposition, only one person is the witness. So the only people that can talk during that deposition is the witness and the attorney asking the questions. So picture your ex-business partner is answering questions and you're just sitting there boiling because you want to say, oh, that's so not true. This is what happened. And emotions are just crazy, and it just really taints The situation, the relationship, the whole experience. It's ugly. So they've already done this. They've been through depositions of witnesses. They've all been deposed, and somehow they find themselves alone. I don't know if it's in a hallway after some depositions. I don't know if it's an elevator. Whatever it is, the 3 ex-business partners are alone without attorneys. And they start talking. And they actually start discussing the situation. And they come up with a resolution, and they take that back to their attorneys. And what they decide is, man, wouldn't it have been nice if we could have had that conversation 2 years ago, before we started down this litigation road? That's what I want you to really keep in mind when you are in conflict with someone. Just stop yourself before you get into the litigation and have that one last opportunity to try and resolve it, because more often than not, you'll be able to, and you will be so grateful to have avoided 2-3 years of heartache, financial stress, all the emotions that go with litigation. So, final note, remember, at the end of the day, you still live in this community, you still run your business in this community, right? You could run into that person you're in conflict with anywhere, at any time, for many years to come. So I think you want to end things amicably as much as possible. So we want to avoid an ugly situation. And even though you may disagree with certain things, you can still come up with resolutions that both of you can walk away and still be amicable with each other and not such hard feelings or ugliness about it. Just addressing and resolving disputes as soon as they rear their ugly head, it's essential. And it will preserve your relationship. It will also preserve the effectiveness of your business. Okay, leaving you with a question. When you think about what we've talked about today, I really want you to ask yourself, am I in conflict? Am I in some sort of conflict situation right now? What can I do just to tweak my behavior a little bit to try and get this worked out? What can I do to resolve this dispute before it turns into a full-blown lawsuit? Thanks so much for joining us. We are here for you. If you are stuck in your business, feel free to reach out to us. We give complimentary consultations, and we are here for you. So we appreciate you joining us. Have a great weekend.